Shalom, everyone, and welcome back after many beautiful days of Passover. I hope you really enjoyed your Seder's. We did. They were a little bit different than we're used to, but they were very, very nice nevertheless, and I'm sure yours were as well. I'd like to share with you a little idea that I heard that is quite a beautiful idea. I got this from part of it, anyhow, is from the Sikh of the Lubavitcher Rebbe on the 17th chapter, the 17th volume of Likutei Sichos of the Rebbe's works. Rabbi Mendel Kaplan in Toronto elucidates it a little bit. He says like this: there are really three names that we know for Passover. The Bible, the Torah, mentions four times that it's called Chag HaMatzos, the holiday of matzos. After all, from the idea that the Jewish people left Egypt in haste and they didn't have enough time to bake matzahs. So each time the Torah calls it Chag HaMatzos. Then we find later that it's commonly called Chag HaPesach, Passover, Pesach. When is it called Pesach? It's called Pesach actually at the end of the destruction of the Second Temple, when the Jewish people did not have a temple anymore. And to remember the beautiful times during the times of the temple when we lived in Israel, to remember that, we called it Chag HaPesach, remembering the Passover sacrifice that was done in ancient times. Although, interestingly, the Pesach sacrifice was not done on Passover. It was done on the eve of Passover. But nevertheless, commonly it became Pesach. What is the difference between Chag HaMatzos and Chag HaPesach? Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, the great Hasidic scholar and master, says that the Torah calls it Chag HaMatzos because God looks very favorably at the Jews who had such faith in God that they left Egypt in haste without worrying about where they were going or whatever it may be. So he calls it lovingly Chag HaMatzos because of his love for the Jewish people. We call it, on the other hand, Chag HaPesach, for our love of God, that He protected us from the disease of the firstborn, the destruction of the firstborn, and that He took us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and that He will again rebuild the temple. And this is our love for God and our praise of God. So we call it Chag HaPesach. It's also called Zman Cherusenu, the holiday of our freedom. It was called actually the holiday of our freedom, not anywhere in the Torah, but it's referred to actually by the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, the men of the Great Assembly, who were 120 great scholars, and many of them were prophets, who lived at the time of the beginning of the Second Temple era with Ezra and Nehemiah, who were members of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, and they were the ones who formulated prayer and the blessings that we say, and they incorporated in the prayers that we should refer to this holiday as Zman Cherusenu, which it is mentioned to this day in the Siddur as this day. So Passover is referred to in these three names. Why is it called Zman Cherusenu? Why did they call it that? Because the theme of Passover is one of freedom. So Passover has all of these three themes: the love of God, the love of the Jewish people by God, the love of God by the Jewish people, and the essential theme of the holiday of cherus, of freedom, which is a very important and an integral theme of the holiday for all of us. So as we are continuing in the holiday of Pesach, we should keep in mind those three ideas as well. So Tuesday night, of course, is this coming Tuesday night is the seventh day of Passover. We light candles in San Diego at 7:01 p.m. And although you can light candles anytime after that from an existing flame, we are allowed to cook on Passover from an existing flame, and we are allowed to carry outside as well. Passover continues on Wednesday, the 15th of August, and of course, the seventh day of Passover is referred to as Shvi Shel Pesach, the seventh day of Pesach, which we recount the splitting of the Red Sea when we came to the sea. The Torah reading that day is of the splitting of the Red Sea. And then that night, we light candles at 7:58 p.m. We cannot start our preparations of the eighth day of Pesach until we finish the seventh day of Pesach. So you can't start your preparations until about 7:58 or 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. And then Thursday is the eighth day of Pesach, commonly called Achron Shel Pesach. And it's a Chabad custom that we eat Sudas Mashiach later on the day to remember the idea that Mashiach should come very soon, God willing, in our day very soon. And Pesach finishes, the holiday finishes at 7:59 p.m. on Thursday night. Give the rabbis about an hour in order to sell your chametz, which will take you until about 9 o'clock. And don't eat any chametz, don't take out any chametz or your pots and pans until 9 o'clock on Thursday night. The last day of Pesach, we traditionally say the Yizkor prayer, where we remember our beloved ones. And people have been asking me, when can I say Yizkor? And the answer really is, you can say Yizkor on any time on Thursday. You do not need to have a minyan necessarily for Yizkor. It's certainly better to have one, but in our current situation, you can say Yizkor on Thursday, and I would encourage you to do so. So we're looking forward to upcoming beautiful last days of Passover. The theme of Mashiach is prominent during that time, and we should hope and pray that with all the occurrences, all the things that are going on right now with this virus and with the home confinement and everyone taking very good care of themselves, we should hope and pray that this year indeed should be the year that we should finally see the redemption, that we should be able to return back to Eretz Yisrael, and we should rebuild the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, and we should all be united with our loved ones who passed away, and there should be no more death, no more wars, no more terrible diseases that afflict anybody, and everyone should get along very well with each other, probably as they are now. I just met some people on the street and they're smiling and happy and wishing me all the best. And this type of attitude should be with us forever. So a good yontif to everyone, and I wish you all the very, very best. And I'll be in touch with you again after the holiday, probably next Monday. Shalom.